because of her, because she's so pathetic and weak at the border. The worst job, the worst border czar in history, I can tell you that. Whether she's a czar or just in charge of the border, it doesn't matter. But they're sending them in levels that we've never seen before, and they're destroying our country. But they all said, all three, it was almost like identical conversations. It was, sir, is there anything we can do to make up for this misunderstanding? I said, yep. You take your MS-13 and you take your gang members and you take your criminals and your drug dealers. We're sending them back, and we're sending them back today. And we sent thousands and thousands of people back. This has stopped for years. Under Bush it stopped, and under Obama it stopped. But this had been taking place for years, and I only found out about it. I said, that's good, get them out. I don't want to put them in our jails, because we put them in our jails. What are we going to do? Keep them for 50 years, 60 years, and the expense? The really bad ones, we did do that, however, because, we don't want them coming back. But all of them said, sir, we would be delighted to take MS-13 back. This would be a great honor. They're such lovely people. And we took them out by the thousands. We took MS-13, ICE, took MS-13 out of our country by the thousands and thousands, and they received them, and that's the way. It's just another little story, but it's a story that's very important, because I can't see a guy like Biden making that call. Can you? Do you think Biden thinks at night, gee, how are we going to get MS-13 out? He doesn't know he's alive. He didn't know he's alive. And this one is just a Marxist. I mean, she's a Marxist communist person, and we're not ready for a communist president, okay? We're not ready for it. We're going to destroy our country. Under my leadership, no community will be surrendered to violent criminals. No citizen will be abandoned to migrant crime. We have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's probably more vicious than the crime that we already have, which is pretty vicious. These people are vicious, and please don't let anyone convince you that our criminals and we have more crime. They are sending massive number of criminals. And you've heard me say this before. Venezuela crime is down 72%. 72. Because they've taken their criminals out of Caracas. They've taken their criminals out of all of their cities, all of their areas, all of the country, and they're sending them to us. And I'm amazed that they're not doing it quicker, to be honest with you. It's happening fast. They're also emptying out the jails. And this is true all over the world. They're emptying out their prisons, and they're taking their criminals from off the streets. They're taking their drug dealers, and their crime rates are down at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And everyone says, oh, so-and-so's doing a great job running such and such a country. No, they're not. They're just very intelligent. I would do it if I were them. I would do it much faster. I can't believe they still have some left. But their jails are getting to be very empty. And what they're doing is they're literally dropping them in. They're busing them in, and they're bringing them in. And they're saying, don't ever come back. If you come back, you get the death penalty. Or if you come back, you get killed. Don't ever come back. And you see the crime statistics are unbelievable. If you look at the jails are, they've never been so low in terms of world. I'm talking all over the world, because they're sending their criminals to the United States of America, and they're saying, don't ever come back. And their jails are being emptied, and their criminals are being taken off the streets, and their crime rates are plummeting. But that's what we want for our country. So we're sending those people back, and these are the people that can do it. So we're going to have a reformed Department of Justice. We'll once again be a friend and partner to our great local police and police officers general, and we'll be working with victims of crime very closely, but will not be working with the criminals that commit the crime. We're going to change it around. Right now, the criminal has a lot more respect within our Department of Justice than the victims. We're going to be working with the victims. We're going to get the gangsters, the drug dealers, the dangerous offenders behind bars, and we're going to get them ideally out of our country, ideally, except in extreme cases. We have some extreme cases where they've murdered many people, and in that case, we want to make sure they're away. But the amount of crime that we have is unbelievable. And the lack of crime that these other places, it just makes so much sense, doesn't it? That's all common sense, too. They're taking their criminals and they're bringing them to the United States. And they look so great. And cities like Caracas, which was a very dangerous place to be, these are cities that have opened up. They have new life. But our country is suffering. And you know, they just got here over the last 2 years, mostly over the last couple of years, during this administration, during our great